Do you have any high-profile alcohol, sir? Sorry, no. Any sort of alcohol at all. I don't drink. And what do you have, some sort of other beverage? What about coffee, instant coffee? That would be excellent, sir. I would welcome a drink of instant coffee with 15 teaspoons of sugar. I can do that. Oh boy. Hello everybody, my name is Joshua and I'd like to welcome you back to another episode of Coffee, Cats, and King, where we discuss books, both new and old. I will show you the pictures of my cats who will make you wish they were your cats. And I will drink enough coffee for me and everybody watching. If you saw my last video, then you'll see I'm using the same mug, wearing the same Bayside shirt. Like I said, I'm trying to do a little more batch filming so that I can edit in between things during the week. Otherwise, there just doesn't seem to be a way for me to get these films up in the sort of schedule that I would like. So I'm working on it. I'm here to rant. So if you do not appreciate a rant review, then this is not the video for you. If, however, that is your thing, well, buckle in, get ready, you're in for a good one. Because today we are talking about The Dark Side by Anthony Nevill and Last Days by Nevill. No, that's totally not me getting a thumbnail for this video. Of course not. It was me getting the thumbnail for the video. So, very different books. And you know, I was going to do a review just on this one. And then I read this and realized that I really needed to talk about it too, because Dark Side, there's no way that people read that and thought it was a good book, but Last Days seems to be rather polarizing, except in this case, it's not everybody loves it and everybody hates it. Based on the reviews on Goodreads, it's like everybody else read it and gave it 4 or 5 stars, and then I read it, and maybe 2 other people read it, and we hated it. So I'm feeling just a little bit ostracized in this case. I'm not sure. I don't know what happened, man. I don't know what happened. But, well, I mean, I'm already into it, so I might as well talk about Last Days first. So Last Days by Nevill. Like I said, it seems to be an almost universally loved book. If not loved, then at least well liked. This is often put on lists for, scariest modern horrors and things like that. So I was really excited to get into it. It's cult horror. It's about these 2 freelance filmmakers who basically get the opportunity of a lifetime to go and check out the old stomping grounds of this cult that killed a bunch of people back in the day, killed a bunch of their own members back in the day. And they get to interview a few of the surviving members, and it seemed to be less Jonestown and more Heaven's Gate, in my opinion, although they keep making references to Jonestown, but it really seemed more like Heaven's Gate in this case. Which, if you're not familiar with, again, it was another killer cult, if you will, where they ended up committing mass suicide. In this case, Heaven's Gate, it was because they thought that if they killed themselves at this particular time, their spirits were going to be carried off in a UFO, taken to the dark side of the moon, essentially where they would be reborn. And somehow or another they convinced enough people of this that it was a pretty big deal. Oddly enough, for Heaven's Gate, even though this was years ago, someone still maintains their website, their official website, so you can still go there and read all this information. That it's a little weird, but I'm getting way off topic, and it's because I'd rather talk about Heaven's Gate than talk about this book. Right, like I said, I given this opportunity, go, film the old stomping grounds, talk to a few of the survivors that got out before everyone killed themselves, that sort of thing. Weird things happen at the old Colt house. Weird things happen when they're talking to the survivors, and weird things happen when they're when they're editing the footage and looking through it and that. And it has all the makings of a good book, but for me, Adam Nevill's writing failed entirely. He annoyed me to no end. It seemed like he only wrote in incomplete sentences and fragmented sentences. That's how the writing was done, that's how the dialogue was done, and it drove me bonkers. So, I think I could probably flip to just about anything in here and give you a good example. I don't know if he's trying to do it to build suspense somehow. It just didn't work for me though. So, you'd be in the middle of a corridor and they're talking about shadows flitted by. Fast. So fast. Flit. Another flit. It happened. And then someone says, got that? Next person says, guess we could see what's going on in the next room. And then the next person's like, have to pee. Hold on. And it was just so choppy and aggravating. I just couldn't get into it, And maybe that's a me problem as well. Maybe, maybe I prefer the writing of someone who scares me by detailing the scene out, by leaving just enough open that I can picture everything that's going on, but still be scared by the unknown. And in this case, I feel like I just didn't have anything to go on. His descriptions were rather so vague that it just did nothing for me and left too much to the imagination. And there's a right way of doing that. We know that because most of us have read Lovecraft, and Lovecraft doesn't necessarily describe his horrors, but he writes in such a way that that you can imagine these things on your own, and you know how horrific it is for his characters. In Last Days, he would describe something, and it was either so out there that the characters, absolutely should have been like, hey, something is really messed up here. We need to back off from this project. And instead, in their fragmented way of speaking, be like, scared. I'm scared. Keep going? Yeah, let's do it. We're safe. We're good. All right, mate. Cool. And then that was it. Move on to the next scene where they were making fun of one of the survivors because the survivor would talk about something in the supernatural, and they're just rolling their eyes at him. Like, oh, really? You believe in the supernatural? Are you kidding me, you idiot? Meanwhile, 5 minutes ago, they were looking over footage where this stain on the wall slowly manifests into some gangly humanoid creature that chases them through the house. But hey, they've already forgotten about that. So I don't know. Like I said, I just couldn't get into it. His writing just did not work for me at all, man. An animal had crept inside the Clarendon Roadhouse. Period. A dog. Period. A fox. Period. A bird. Period. Pigeons. Period. They're everywhere. Period. That just doesn't work for me. That does not work for me. Again, maybe it's a little bit of the grammar Nazi in me, but I can't get into that style of writing. The dialogue, in my opinion, sucked. Every character spoke in the same way. Every character spoke in those fragmented half sentences, and to me, it just felt so unreal. Even when these guys shift over to America, it's the same thing. Everyone speaks the same way, you have your small town cop that's supposed to be, the hick hillbilly kind of guy. but then he speaks in the same manner that they do. You get about 1,000 mates for every conversation between these two guys, which again would be fine, but when you have instances where the word mate is coming up multiple times in the same sentence, dude, back off. It's just too much, you know? Just couldn't get into it, so even if there were some okay scenes, it did not in any way justify me reading over 500 pages. Yeah, I don't know, I can't recommend it. I just can't recommend it. Which is sad because I love a good cult novel. I'm working on a cult novel myself. There are better books out there, there are better movies out there, and actually you might see from me, I'm thinking of doing one of those, you know, oh, if you like this, read this kind of deal. The point being though, this is my second Adam Nevill book. I read The Ritual as well, which again, people love. I think I gave it 2.5 or 3 stars. It was okay, but where everyone had hyped it up for me, again, it just didn't really work. And this one, 1 star. I'll leave it here. If someone wants it, if someone wants to try it. Again, a lot of people love this book. Alex the Bookubus, she gave it 4 stars, I think. She enjoyed it. So maybe it's just me. Maybe the writing style just doesn't work for me. Maybe Adam Nevill is a genius like Stephen Graham Jones, and for me, they both fail. So if someone wants this book, let me know. I'll send it to you. Otherwise, it's going in my Goodwill pile, and it'll be, it'll be sent off somewhere for someone else to buy for $1. The next book I want to talk about goes into science fiction, and this one is the reason that I was going to make this video in the first place. This is Anthony O'Neill with The Dark Side. I think I'm realizing that science fiction noir does not work for me whatsoever. I have read a surprising amount of science fiction noir, and of those books there might be 1 or 2 or 3 that I actually like, and everything else has just failed for me. So this one though I thought was going to work out. This is about a moon colony called Purgatory, which has been set up almost as a big criminal activity sort of area. You can go there and buy anything, do anything for the right price. And back in the day, they also sent major criminals there who essentially live in these little biodomes on their own. And their sentence is just to be there in isolation. So you have that going on. On the other side of this moon is Purgatory, where, like I said, it's like a massive, less moral Las Vegas, we'll say. And randomly, this android starts going around and killing people. Just as this new detective comes on the scene, Detective Damien Justice, and he is determined to get to the bottom of these murders, even though no one else seems to really care all that much. I didn't care either. This book has some of the worst writing, and in particular, the worst dialogue that I think I've ever read. I mean, I hated this book more than I hated When Spirits Walk. I hated it more than I hated Panzer Spirit. And part of the reason being that this was edited and published by Simon & Schuster. And they have no business publishing something this awful. This book was 400 pages of rinse and repeat. You started a scene with the android going into someone's biodome, being allowed in for some reason. He has an insane conversation with them where they should know right off the bat that this thing is nuts and off its circuits, if you will. But they still let it in, they still talk to it, then he kills it in some horrific, brutal way. The next scene, we'll be talking about Mr. Damien Justice talking to someone in some inane, mind-numbing conversation. We'll be introduced to another prisoner who are all described the same way. Oh, this prisoner lives on the moon. This prisoner is insane. This is the crime this prisoner committed. And, oh, now here's our android again, ready to kill them. And that's, I swear, that's how almost the entire book goes. The ending is so bad. So bad. Oh, no, there is a third part in there in between when the android kills someone and when Damien Justice has a boring conversation with someone. And that is when the author jumps into second person. And it's the only time that the author jumps into second person. He'll describe some particular thing on the planet or some particular event or that. There are very few times that you need to use second person in a story, in a novel. And if you are going to do so, that entire novel better be in second person. There are no other circumstances that you and your need to come up as if the narrator is talking to you, the reader. For every second or third chapter to jump into second person totally takes you out of the book, because now you are recognizing that this is a book. And I really didn't understand what Anthony O'Neill was going for here. I mean, the book is bad enough on its own. And, you know, it's my own fault. I should have known this, because the blurb on the cover says, a two-fisted lunar detective story that's everything I've ever loved in a book. And that blurb is from Peter Clines, who wrote the atrocious X-Heroes. So, again, I should have known what I was getting into, but yeah, like I said, I jumped to a random chapter. Enos Fields is a lunatic, period, and a cannibal, period. And then talks about what Enos did. And then a page later, Enos lets the android in. They have a mind-numbingly stupid conversation. I want to go to Oz, both El Dorado and Oz. I understand they're the same place, sir. Are you perhaps talking about the mythical Oz? I didn't understand that question, sir. Well, I thought you might be, the Tin Man on his way to Oz. I am not the Tin Man, sir. I am the Wizard. And he's just having this conversation with the android, and clearly something is wrong with his android. That should be obvious. But they keep having a conversation. He turns his back. The android bashes his head in. And then the android gets to do this again to another 20 people. And I'm going to spoil this book because I don't want anyone to read it. The book ends with the android ripping the head off of the main villain. And then he goes out and displays it to all the people and becomes their king. I mean, wow. Wow. Again, another conversation the two ladies are having with this droid they've allowed into their house, where they're completely unprotected. Then I'm sorry, we can't help you. The droid is still beaming, creepily. He looks from one to the other. You two ladies need that vehicle as much as I do, it seems. We do. We all cannot use it at once. I guess not. Of course, there's nothing stopping me from just getting into the vehicle and driving away. You might find that difficult. And why is that, madame? There's a security key. I did not know that, madame. May I view this key? You may not. The droid looks at her, then at Jameson, back and forth. The subtle violence makes the room seem even hotter and stuffier. And finally he says, Then I salute you ladies. You have bent me over, and I'm not going to say the next thing. Yes, I salute you ladies. A real man always acknowledges when he has been beaten, so I salute you and I bow to you. And he does. Then rising, his tone changes completely. And now I leave you. I will sponge the stains out of my garment, and then I will be on my way. Oh yeah, by the way, they let this thing in while it has blood stains all over it. But that doesn't seem to bother them, so... Man. He's going for these undertones of unease, I guess, that the character's supposed to get, but man, you're an idiot if you let this thing in to begin with. Especially when it's covered in blood. Maybe question why this thing is covered in blood before you let it into your house. It's been a little while since I've read this book. I think I needed some time to calm down from it because it made me so mad. Females in this book, man, it's like we jumped back 100 years. And I think that says all I need to say. I don't need to go into detail. If you're a female and you exist in this book, I'm very sorry for you, because awful things are going to happen to you and no one cares. The writing is just atrocious all the way through. Under no circumstances, folks, should you go from third person to second person to third person to second person within the same chapter as well. No. This book is everything. It's everything you should not do when writing a book, and somehow it got published by freaking Simon & Schuster. And that ticks me off. It really does, because, you know, as a guy who would like to publish some of his own work, this piece of crap gets published by one of the biggest publishing companies there is. And, you know, the rest of us out there can't get a story into a magazine or something, you know? But this sucked. No one should read it. It is incredibly offensive to women. The writing is atrocious. It's everything that you should not do when writing a novel. And it has just the worst dialogue ever. The worst ending. It's horrible. I want to throw this thing in the friggin' trash. Awful. Again, terrible dialogue. It cuts so much that it's just impossible to get into the scenes, but maybe I'm missing something because people love this one. So if you want to give this one a try, I guess let me know and I'll send it to you so you're not wasting your money, because in my opinion, I wasted money buying that book. Don't read this one. Incredibly offensive, just a horrible book. And I wouldn't use it as toilet paper. And that's that. I don't know why I do these rant reviews, because then I leave off and I'm in a bad mood. Thankfully, I'm still reading Dark Gods and Troy's collection, and those are both really great. So I guess I can read those to get my mind off of this crap. But that'll do it for this one, guys. Again, I'll see you soon. I've got some great stuff coming up. Stick with me. Be patient with me, because I'm working some long hours right now and it's hard to get stuff out. But that'll do it. Stay safe. Drink great coffee. Read great books. Don't read these books. And that's all I've got to say today. Cheers.